diverse culture, faith, color, and genders, and pledge to work for equity, inclusivity, peace, and harmony. I, Ishita Seth, along with my co-host Kritisha, students of DME Media School, welcome you to the technical session of 6th edition of the world's first 7-day staggered collocation conference. ICAN6 is organized by DME Media School in collaboration with the School of Communication and Creative Arts, Deakin University, Melbourne, Australia, and is sponsored by the Indian Council of Social Science Research, ICAN6. This time, ICAN6 is organized in a staggered format, which will take place at 4 different venues across India and abroad. Phase 1 will be held in Delhi Metropolitan Education, Noida, from 19th to 21st June, and Indraprastha International Institute of Research and Studies, Faridabad, on 22nd June. Phase 2 will be organized in National University of Journalism and Communication, Bhopal, on 21st July, and Deakin International University, Bangladesh, on 5th and 6th August 2023. I would like to take a moment to introduce Delhi Metropolitan Education to our audience. Delhi Metropolitan Education is an A-grade premier educational institute affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, New Delhi, and approved by the Bar Council of India. DME Media School is one of the most promising media institutes in the country. It offers BA in Journalism and Mass Communication. It is recognized as a school focused on the growth of its faculty and students through academic and co-curricular activities.
ICAN6 has come with the theme Identity, Culture, Agenda-Driven Newscast with the hashtag Cultural Identity for Diversity. ICAN6 has support of more than 21 partners. The conference is sponsored by Indian Council of Social Science Research. Conference partners are ICAN6 Gen Section and GMEC Global Media Education Council. Knowledge partners are Newscast International Institute of Research and Studies, Faridabad, Makhanlal Chaturvedi National University of Journalism and Communication, Bhopal, Adams University, Kolkata, Institute of Applied Medicines and Research, ICANR, Ghaziabad, and KSF, Keshav Shuri Foundation. International partners are Daffodil International University, Bangladesh, Institute of International Journalism, Ohio University, USA, and Beacon House National University, Pakistan. Media partners are The Policy Times, Jai Hind Times, Quick News, and News 44. ICAN6 is powered by Asian Media and Culture Studies Network Australia, Australia-India Film Practitioners and Researchers Network Australia, SPA, the Student Council of DME Media School, RIM, a research cell of DME Media School, Richmond Fellowship Society India, Delhi branch. Since 2018, DME Media School has been organizing the international conference ICAN. The themes for the former editions were India and changing aspects of news in ICAN 1, Indian cinema and alternate networks in ICAN 2, issues of community, agenda and news in ICAN 3, information, communication and artificial networks in ICAN 4, inclusivity, convergence and alternative negotiations in ICAN 5, and identity, culture, agenda-driven newscast in ICAN 6. This unique conference is conceptualized by Dr. Amrish Saxena, Professor and Dean of DME Media School. He is the convener of ICAN 6. I invite Sir to deliver his opening address.
So, this is the third day of ICAN 6, and as we all know, we started this in 2018 and we are moving on despite pandemic and despite whatever odds have happened. And this time we introduce some new concept which appears working. We are having this at 4 different locations in India and abroad. Tomorrow, for instance, we are having 1 full day sessions in Newscast International Institute of Research and Studies. And this time we try to have more technical sessions in the physical space. Last year, all the sessions were in the online space, so almost 50-50 sessions are in online and on-site. In the first phase, we have planned 4 technical sessions. Today, also there are two technical sessions are in the online mode and 2 are in the on-site mode, and they are happening parallel. So I welcome Dr. Anubhuti Yadav. Despite all her constraints, she finally came and is chairing this session, and I'm sure that all the paper presenters who are here in this session, they will be validated by the discourse which is happening and by the feedback that everybody will be getting by Professor Anubhuti. So thank you all the presenters.
Thank you so much, sir. I am happy to share that journalism at DME is the official newsletter of DME Media School. This fortnightly publications cover all the major activities happening in and out of the campus. It is a student-centric newsletter carried out entirely by them under the supervision of faculty members. DME TV is our official YouTube channel where you can find the playlist related to our sessions, lecture series, film festivals, and conferences. For more information, follow us on our social media handles and YouTube channel DME TV. Today we all are here for the technical session on the topic freedom of speech and news trends, citizen journalism, agenda-driven newscasts, and media narratives. This session will be chaired by Dr. Anubhuti Yadav, Professor, Head of the Department New Media and Post Director of Advertising and Public Relations Courses, Indian Institute of Mass Communication, New Delhi, and co-chaired by Dr. Kiran Rizvi, DME Media School. Dr. Anubhuti Yadav is Head of the Department of New Media and Course Director of Advertising and Public Relations Course. She is a leading expert and active promoter of media literacy in India, having won 4 national awards as Best Scriptwriter and Researcher for the series of Women Achievers, Paramveer Chakra Bodies, and Media Literature. She is a certified trainer on fact-checking and verification and has conducted workshops on fact-checking and verification for journalists, media educators, and media students. She has been a jury member of various festivals and awards, including Innovative Use of ICT in Education, Public Relations Society of India Awards for contribution to mass communication education, Women of Excellence Award by Women Economic Forum, and Web Wonder Woman Award by the Ministry of Women and Child Welfare. She is the co-author of Indian edition of Media Literacy, Key to Integrating Media Messages, book development under Digital International Media Literacy Project. Professor Yadav was a jury member of various festivals and awards like Woodpecker Film Festival, National Science Film Festival, Prakriti Festival, CEC, MHRD, and Kaleido Awards organized by the Brand Group. She is also a member of Technical Committee on Pradhan Mantri Digital Saksarta Abhiyan.
Thank you so much, madam, for gracing the session with your presence. May I now request Dr. Susmita Bala, Head of the Department and Chief Associate Convener ICAN6, to kindly felicitate our guest. Are requested to finish their presentations in 7 to 8 minutes. There will be a question-answer round after every presentation. The co-chair of this session is Dr. Kiran Rizvi, Associate Professor at DME Media School. She has completed her PhD from AJK MCRC, Jamia Millia Islamia, and postdoctoral fellowship from Osmania University, Hyderabad. Now, I request Dr. Kiran Rizvi to carry the session forward.
Starting the session, I would like to request Dr. Sunita Dusmana, Assistant Professor, Delhi Metropolitan Education, Noida, to present her paper. The topic of her research paper is Analyzing Editorial Columns of the Indian Express.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Sunita Dusmana, Assistant Professor, DME Media School. The topic of my today's presentation is Analyzing the Editorial Page of Indian Express newspaper. Before I start my presentation, I would like to thank our conveners, Dr. Ranveer Saxena, Dr. Sushmita Bala. Also, would like to thank Dr. Anubhuti Yadav and also Dr. Kiran Rizvi, the session co-chair, for providing me this opportunity to present. I want to tell you all why I have chosen this topic. I've chosen this topic due to my keen interest in learning how to write, and specifically I've chosen Indian Express here for my studies because it is one of the most reputable newspaper in our country and it is meant for serious reading. And in Indian Express I've chosen the editorial page because it is the editorial page which reflects on the take of the newspaper on any particular issue that is being covered. I would like to shed a little light on the Indian Express newspaper. It was founded in 1932. It is published in Mumbai by the Indian Express Group, founded by Ramnath Goenka, and sister publications are Financial Express, Lok Satta and Jan Satta. The tagline of Indian Express is journalism of courage. With this presentation, I aim to enhance the understanding of critical writing skills. I also aim for a better understanding of how editorials are written in a newspaper. I aim to add some kind of knowledge and information for all of us who are mostly into reading information from the new media platforms. These are the specific objectives of my study. I want to understand the nature of the editorials that are appearing in the Indian Express newspaper. I also want to categorize them. I want to understand that what are the broad subjects on which these editorials are getting published. Also want to understand the frequency of their publication and want to understand the manner of presentation of these editorials. The method that I've used for my study is called content analysis. And for my content analysis, I have selected 1 month's Indian Express newspaper. In this duration, it was from May 1st to May 31st, and in this duration, total 62 editorial columns have been studied. I must tell you here also that Indian Express does not come out with editorials on Sundays, and I unfortunately missed out 4 issues of the newspaper. So that's how total 62 editorials were examined in my study. And in those 62 editorials, there were total 182 paragraphs. So the picture that you must be seeing at the right hand side is the editorial page of the Indian Express newspaper. So I have pasted this picture here because I want to tell you that in this page I have studied the columns which appear on the left hand side. So because if you see on the right hand side, these columns are been written by the experts. But on the left hand side, the columns, there are 3 columns. These columns are being written by the editor. So I have considered only these 3 columns in my study. Also, I want to tell you here that the Indian Express every day comes up with 3 columns in the editorial section, and on Mondays they come up with 2 columns only, and on Mondays only they come up with this freeze frame cartoon section. So on Mondays we have 2 columns, and rest all other days, starting from Tuesday to Saturday, there are 3 columns. So this is the major tabulation and analysis, which would also describe the major findings of my study. So the method, I personally, I have done this coding myself. No other coder has been used, and I personally read each and every editorial column. And after reading this editorial column, I could categorize my columns into these categories. I identified that the editorial columns of Indian Express were categorized into editorials which covered politics, which covered sociology, which covered economics, education, emergency, sports, geopolitics, entertainment, industry, technology, pandemic, government policies, lifestyles, and environment. So overall, I identified that politics is most covered in the Indian Express editorial column. Education and then environment is least covered in these columns that I've studied. I also wanted to identify the topics which were, the nature of the topics which were covered in these editorials. I identified that the maximum proportion was on the negative topics that were being talked about in Indian Express, and almost a similar proportion were of positive topics. Only 8 editorials I found to be neutral topics. So as I, in the beginning of my tabulation analysis, I identified that the political science has been covered mostly in Indian Express newspaper. So I further divided those columns to understand that in political science, what specifically is being talked about. I identified that in political science, political parties are being talked about. Then there were political situations that were being elaborated. Global politics, international politics was majorly covered. Then there were editorials on elections, on conflict, and few others which I have given the others category. Then economics also I tried to subdivide and identify, study further, and I identified that policies which are related to economics, to finance, they were discussed the most. Then there were the editorials were talking about the deteriorating financial conditions. Then there was talk about global inflation, the growth rate, and there was one story only, one editorial which was referring to a policy which was there in the past, and then it was discussing on that policy. Yeah. So these are the pictures of my study. So I've taken a shot of these and added it here to show you. One important finding which I think will add to the writing skills of a researcher is that I identified that the Indian Express particularly, when it is coming up with headlines, it is using all caps only. So, and they are trying to say maximum with minimum possible words. So they are mostly using 2 or 3 words maximum in their headlines. So if you see on these the pictures here, you will find that the first story carries only 4 words, and then second has only 2 words. The last one of course has 8 words, but that was the only exception in this case. So headlines I've already talked about that 2 words, 3 word stories are very common. So 3 words, 4 word stories are there, and one editorial column only used 8 words. Also, there is this image in which it's mentioned Spidey in a dhoti. So I also identified when I was trying to understand the headline writing style in these editorials that they played with words, and there was a combination of Hindi and English language in the headlines. So that is why I pasted this example. Then further in my studies, I divided my editorial into various categories. I tried to understand the headlines, the sub-headlines, then further divided that editorial column into 3 paragraphs. So I could identify in my study that when I was trying to understand the nature of the headlines, I identified that criticism is being most talked about. The headlines openly criticized. And then there were some headlines which were giving suggestions, which is 5%. There were headlines that were throwing light, they were providing information, and it is very important to note here that everything was done within the word limit of 2 to 3 or max to max 4 words only. There were a few headlines which alerted the readers. There were headlines which wanted the government or the policy makers to take some kind of action. There were headlines that motivated the readers. There were headlines full of future anticipations. So these variables that I came up with is after going through some reviewed literature, which was, and majorly through reading this newspaper only. So this is the division of the sub-headlines. The sub-headlines were also playing a prominent role in creating awareness amongst the readers. So the maximum proportion of sub-headlines actually attempted to create awareness amongst the readers. They wanted readers to take some kind of action, the policymakers to take some kind of action. These sub-headlines again raised hopes. They identified challenges, they provided suggestions, they raised issues, they raised questions. Yeah, I have again pasted these pictures. These are the similar pictures. Earlier I was trying to point out on the headlines, but now I want to explain you here that if you would notice that the first 2 editorial columns are divided into paragraphs. So all these editorial columns were divided into 3 paragraphs only. It was only just this one story, which was one editorial, which was on the unveiling of the new parliament, which carried 5 paragraphs in it. So all stories were studied, and they were divided into 3 paragraphs, and each paragraph was studied for the major theme. So all 3 paragraphs, the findings of all 3 paragraphs, I have brought them together only so that we can also paragraph and how the third paragraph is different from the second paragraphs. I'll just tell you. This is about the editorial. So I identified these stories. These stories in the paragraphs talked about the achievements. They talked about the anticipation of the future. They, of course, they talked about called the readers to take action. They criticized. They explained those challenges in the paragraph, because if you remember, I told you in the beginning that the headlines were carrying alerts, and they were, even were on the theme of challenges. So in the coming paragraphs, they did explain those challenges. Some of them also, left some. The conclusion was left with a question as well sometimes. So the percentages, I'll quickly share with you the percentages at which these paragraphs carried various themes. For example, the paragraph 2 carried 2% of achievement, of 2% of theme which talked about achievement, 5% which of theme which talked about alerting the readers, then anticipating future, then explaining those challenges, identifying problem. They also gave lessons to learn. They motivated the readers. In the editorial columns also, I identified the quotes of the people, of prominence of people who were of importance in that particular matter. So, as I told you in the beginning, that the tagline of the Indian Express newspaper is the journalism of courage. There is one more tagline in the Indian Express newspaper which is carried in the editorial page, which is because the truth involves us. So after identifying, after my findings, I did realize that whatever Indian Express newspaper is claiming for, it is actually standing up to that standards. So this is my major findings. Thank you so much.
Why only Indian Express, not why the Delhi?
Yeah, I've chosen only one. I forgot to mention about my limitations. Of course, time limitation was there. I've chosen one newspaper only because I wanted to, at this point of time, understand its practice of journalism of courage. That is one reason. Of course, there is a scope of future research, ma'am, that we can do a comparative analysis. We have to select 4 newspapers leading publications, or we can also do a comparative analysis of editorials of Hindi and English newspapers. Of course, time limit was a limitation for me.
You just taken 1 month.
Yes, ma'am, at this point of time, only one.
So if you're taking stories from a month,
Yes.
and even if it is an editorial,
Yes.
so you will find similar sort of stories. If
Yeah,
you
sure.
are really doing content analysis, I mean, it would have been a very good idea. This
Yes.
also because your focus was more on writing skills,
Yes.
the way they are writing headlines and content.
Yes.
But otherwise, had it been 3-4 months, it makes a lot of difference.
Yes, absolutely. I do agree, ma'am. And even if I compared it with Hindu, for example, it would have been better, I think, because I was initially planning to do that only, and I did find out the manner of presentation differently in Hindu, but I couldn't do at this point of time.
And you did mention one thing, which is like negative topics, positive topics, and I didn't get that. What do you mean by that?
Ma'am, those were the topics which were talked about in the Indian Express editorial columns. There were issues, for example, when they were talking about Manipur clashes. So that my
Clashes, like what would you call it? Is it a negative or a positive, or is it a news story?
not that they have explained in a negative sense only. Na? They have it's a news story, but they have explained the matter of why those clashes took place and everything, all those details.
As a researcher, whether we should be using these words, negative stories or positive stories, that is something which
What I meant is a negative connotation in that story I was referring to actually. Any other question, ma'am? I also want your suggestions on this.
Suggestions, I give all the suggestions towards the end. I have taken my notes.
But anyway, that email is already there.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I will now call upon Miss Aditi Anu. Miss Aditi Anu is a student, Delhi Metropolitan Education, Noida. The topic of her presentation is a case study on the impact of citizen journalism. within the media landscape.
Hello everyone, I am Aditi Anu, ICAN6 second year student, and my topic for the research is citizen journalism within the media landscape. The first is introduction. So the citizen journalism refers to the act of ordinary people engaging in the process of gathering, reporting and analyzing news and information. The key results of this study are about the impact of citizen journalism and how citizen journalism plays an important role in media development. The mapping of citizen journalism reveals three types of citizen journalism who constitute the media landscape. So the first is participatory, second is citizen journalism as a media watchdog, and the third is community. The research will delve into the historical development and evolution of citizen journalism, exploring its origins, motivations, and technological advancements that have facilitated its rise to the media landscape. My paper will investigate the extent to which citizen journalists have become a significant source of news and information, examining their contributions in terms of content creation, dissemination, and audience engagement. Evaluation and credibility and reliability of citizen journalism is comparison in the traditional news sources. The paper will also identify areas for improvement, purpose, ethical guidelines, and explore potential strategies for collaboration and integrated between citizen journalists and professional news organizations. The research methodology is about quantitative research. Our Google survey form was circulated. 160 responses were totally collected, and the first question was, have you ever acted as a citizen journalist? So mostly people didn't know what citizen journalism is about. So I explained them first, and then the 60% people said no, and 39% were yes. There were actually total 5 questions, so I'm just highlighting the 3 of them. So the third question is, do you trust the credibility of news provided by citizen journalists? So maximum people answered as sometimes, as you can see 86.8%, 7.9% people said always, and never were less than 7.9%. And my fifth question was, according to you, does the rise of social media platforms and technology influence the growth and impact of citizen journalism positively as well as negatively? So mostly people answered positively and as well as negatively, and 13.2% were positively, and that negatively were the red one, which were less. The findings and limitations of my research paper are specific to a particular time, region. It was challenging to generalize the result to differentiate situations of the populations due to diverse nature of citizen. Conducting research involving citizen journalism raises ethical considerations such as privacy, consent, and the potential for harm. The media landscape is constantly evolving due to technological advancements, regulatory challenges, and shifts. The rapid evolution is challenging for capturing a comprehensive understanding of the impact of citizen journalism at any given moment. The conclusion is the impact of citizen journalism within the media landscape has been significant and transformative. With the rise of digital technologies and social media platforms, citizens have now need to participate actively in creating, disseminating news content. They have the agility and flexibility to cover events in real time, often providing a more immediate and grassroots view of unfolding events. Through the use of mobile devices and social media platforms, citizens can document and share incidents of corruption, human rights abuses, and other social issues.
Any question? If you would like to so much. Any questions from your side? From the audience? Anything?
Which age group was the age group for taken the study?
I can't hear you. Can you speak
What
loud?
was the age group?
Age group, it was not an age group. I just basically targeted some people who uses more social media platforms because they involve and participate in citizen journalism kind of thing more.
So don't you think age is more important while covering citizen journalism?
No,
everyone is.
Age is a very important factor when you're trying to find out something.
Yes, ma'am, but
So for
actually.
example, even in the citizen journalism, the question which he asked is a very valid question in the sense that you're saying that you only ask people who are using social media. Nowadays, even the elderly people are using social media.
Ma'am,
right?
I also asked them also. It's about technologies.
But they can't be termed as citizen journalists. Whosoever uses social media cannot use
No, ma'am. Obviously not.
So they have
It's
some
yes, ma'am.
it's really important.
See, the question which he is asking is, who are your respondents? When you are asking question to someone, you should know that these are my respondents and this is the age group, gender, or like whatever the things you choose. I have taken these people because they will help me in achieving my objective. Now, when you're talking about citizen journalism, you said that first I explained to them what citizen journalism is. And then I asked question, whether they know about citizen journalism or not. So half of the thing was done by you.
Yes, ma'am, when I circulated, so most of the people asked me, tell me what citizen journalism is. So I told them this is something you must have done, but it's just you don't know the word.
Also, like when you are, it's not that you were asking questions because they might have done this. You ask these questions because you wanted to know that whether these people are aware of this concept of citizen journalism, that there are people who are not part of traditional media, but still, they are trying to create content. I mean, I don't believe in citizen journalism because people have to be trained in this particular discipline to be called a journalist. Or you should have asked them that, okay, if you know this, then who are these citizen journalists? You can think, or you might have read any news piece written by any citizen journalist. So these are the questions which you should have asked. Otherwise, as a student, it's a good attempt in the sense that these students are thinking of doing a research paper. But there are a lot of things. For example, that's a basic thing he asked. What is the age group of your respondents?
Thank you so much. Now I may call upon Ananya Kaushik. She is also a student from DME Media. The topic of her presentation is role of media in shaping political propaganda.
And she is not present.
She is not present.
No.
Okay. So I will call upon now Himakshi Datta. Himakshi is here.
Yes, ma'am.
The topic of our presentation is role of media in creating narratives, a study of Russia-Ukraine war.
I'm Himakshi Datta. I'm a second year BA GMC student at DME, and this is my topic. These are the 4 objectives of my research paper. How media forms narratives. It can be achieved by selecting, framing, presenting information to shape public perception and to influence the understanding of events and issues that are happening in day-to-day life. My certificate objective was the importance of digital media, especially during the time of war. It is crucial during the time of war as it enables real-time information dissemination. It empowers the individuals who are experiencing the war to come up front and narrate their stories that have been affected by the war, experiences, and receive to mobilize support. My third objective was role of media in Russia and Ukraine war. Media plays a significant role in reporting as well as shaping the views that people have regarding the war. It disseminates information, it creates narratives, influences global perception of the war, and also sheds light on the issues like human rights violation. It also generates international pressure to adhere humanitarian rights standards. Coming to my last objective, it brings about the potential to bring behavioral and perspective changes, influences public opinion. It can also shape the perception on the legitimacy of war and the actions that are being done by the involved parties. I have formed my research questions based on my objectives itself. I have been talking about narratives. What are narratives? These are structured forms of storytelling that shape understanding of the events that are taking place. It can as well narratives play a major role in behavioral changes as it engages individuals emotionally. My third research question was about digital media. Since I have been using it as my sample, digital media refers to the content that is available through electronic devices and online platforms. It allows creation, dissemination, and distribution of digital formats. It provides information regarding social issues, entertainment, and other issues. Why is it important and what is its impact? It has a wide range. Almost everybody has access to digital media, be it locally or globally. I'll wrap it up in brief. I will explain why I chose the war. The conflict began in 2014 when Russia took over Crimea. It heightened the tension between Russia when NATO came into the picture and NATO helped Ukraine politically and provided non-lethal aid to it. And I have been talking about media. It plays a significant role on the conflict on forming opinions of the conflict. It explores the impact of media on public, creating perception and the portrayal of the war globally. Coming to my methodology, it is a secondary review research paper. That means I have been using information that is already given on the internet and other places. I have taken my sample size is 3 papers. I have taken papers from 3 different countries, that is Russia, Ukraine, and India. I have taken the papers from these countries because I wanted to show how Russia has, like the media that is being used in Russia portrays Ukraine and vice versa. I have taken India because it has always been a neutral view regarding the war, so it presents a neutral stance. These are the articles I have picked. These are from the newspapers that I have picked. I have picked the, coming back to the methodology. I have picked the top English language newspapers of the 3 countries. From Russia, I have picked the Moscow Times. From Ukraine, I have picked the Post. And from India, I have picked Times of India. These are the articles, and you can read them online and give you a gist about it. The Moscow Times published this article. It talks about the G7 summit. The article criticizes the G7 summit for being a propaganda show because they called the Ukraine's president over, and they were talking about anti-Russia, China perspective. The article that I took from Kyiv Post talks about how Russian army is a self-proclaimed second-best army. How they were talking about they were taking over Ukraine very swiftly, but Ukraine at the end liberated the areas that were captured, and all of this began a sense of panic, and to which the Russian Ministry of Defense did not reply. It was also silent. This was the article that I picked from the Times of India. The article talks about how the war, the situation about the global economy after a year of the war. It talks about how Russia got 2,700 sanctions, how the war affected the global economy, the crude prices. It talks about India in particular, how the rupee drastically decreased in relationship to dollar prices. Coming up to my contribution, I kind of feel like the Russian newspaper was all about criticizing the Ukraine's president's views that he shared during the summit. The Ukraine's newspaper was exposing the Russian army and its incompetence. Whereas in India, we talked about, without taking any sides, we talked about the global situation that had the impact from the war. And
I have just one suggestion. You might have put your soul into the research paper, but the research question was taken in general manner. In research, you don't do that. And then some structural changes that you might need to do in the research paper. When we do write a research paper, we first write the introduction part. And then we look around, we see what is the scope of the study, what is the significance of the study, and then we address the research gap, and then we do the aims and objectives. And to fulfill this aims and objectives, we do the research questions. And the research questions cannot be general. And then when you say that you said that I have taken a secondary research. So what is a secondary research material and what is primary? Primary is not always that you go first year, it's not only on this primary. So a research paper can be a secondary research because the research has been done. The research material that has been already analyzed can be secondary research. But the newspaper cannot be considered as a secondary research. So this is not a review paper. It is kind of, you have done a content analysis, comparative content analysis of 3 papers. And also mentioned when you did part of some headlines, the 3 newspapers. Was it the same day or some different days?
It was within the week.
You were mentioned the time day.
Actually, it's not good.
It is very good, but it was nice that you have chosen this topic and you have tried in your own way to do something kind of content analysis. And really that's it. And we already know what is narrative, we already know what is digital media. So you show that how we can use the digital media. The topics cannot be specific, very general and that was my and from the audience.
Yeah, I would like to ask what are the managerial implication of this research?
What are the?
Managerial implication, like where
Could you rephrase your question?
where your research can be applied, like how we can use it. Who are the people will get the benefit of this research basically?
I think the media, like people who are working in the media, would get aware how media affects people not only at their local level in their state, but also internationally. Like if I'm writing something, if you are writing something, how people who are not living in your country but also outside will be reading your paper, and how it would impact your country's image, like how it would form an image in their regarding whatever you want.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your suggestion.
Okay, see, you are very ambitious when you framed your objectives. And when you look at those 4 objectives you're talking about, how media forms narrative, role of digital media, the content analysis also. These are 4 different research topics. Yes, there are 4 different. Say, for example, when you talk about behavioral changes, but you mentioned that in your objective, but it was nowhere in your research. What behavioral changes were you talking about?
Ongoing thing.
So then you must say that this part I have done, but the rest of the 3 objectives I still have to work on. Otherwise, it looks like you want to do a lot of things, but at the end of it, grab it, analyzing the pages. So even like it's a long term. These are 4 major research topics. You can't take all in one. For example, behavioral change in itself is a huge topic. Even for the PhD, you can take only this one. You cannot have all those things. Again, when you are saying how media form narratives and role of digital, they're the same thing. When you're talking about how media form narratives, that will be digital will be part of it, isn't it? So when you are framing objectives, you have to be very, very clear and you have to be very specific what you would like to achieve in the time frame which you have to conduct this research. Right? But I really like the sincerity and I really like the way you have selected this particular topic, which is very topical, relevant also. So keep working on this.
Anything else? Thank you so much for the.
Any specific reasons you have chosen most times?
Any specific?
Any specific reasons you have chosen most
It
times?
is the English newspaper, and that is the language I would be able to read, and it is one of the top English newspapers of Russia.
So what he's saying, why Moscow Times and why Times of India from India, why Moscow Times from
Because
Russia?
they read.
Okay, you also mentioned that the leadership of this newspaper is like that.
I have.
You mentioned it.
Why have selected these
Now I may call upon Aditya Goswami, student of Delhi Metropolitan Education, and Dipanshi Pan. She is also student of Delhi Metropolitan Education, and they have written their paper on impact of public relations on news coverage.
And so my name is Aditya Goswami, and I'm writing the paper by Dipanshi Pan. So he chose the topic, the study of impact of public relation on news coverage. When I first would like to discuss why I chose this topic. First, my first interest in news coverage and news writing, and last is news events which are happening now. So we just start with the introduction. So in this presentation, I just want to present and explore the impact of public relation on the news coverage and examine how clear strategies and some techniques can influence the selection of farming, framing, and portrayal of news stories. And we will also discuss the potential implication of such influence on the public understanding of events and issues. Just I want to mention some strategies like risk management and visibility in the
main aim of our study is the impact of public relations on news coverage, and the other three are how public relations influence news coverage, relation between public relation and media, how public relation and media impact people.
I just want to mention one thing that we have set an objective, like the relation between public relation and media. We are just in between that. And there are some improved literature. We took some papers written by analyse, journalistic and public relation for our paper.
Research methodology. Our primarily we collected data through a survey, and the secondary we collected information through various websites and Google Scholar. And the survey is based on the survey is conducted, and we reached 15 to 20 journalists and PR professionals through LinkedIn and Facebook, but we got only 11 response. Data analysis also based on our survey, and the questions are our main aspects. How do you think public relations professionals can effectively work with journalists to enhance news coverage? Most of the people think building strong relation, and the least people think collaborating on story development. And the other question is, do you believe public relation has an overall positive or negative impact on news coverage? Most of the people think both positive and negative, and least people think no impact. And the last is how can public relation professionals maintain transparency and credibility in their interaction with journalists? Most of the people think providing accurate information, and the least people think avoiding manipulation tactics and openly addressing questions and concerns.
In conclusion, after reviewing the data provided by some journalists and their profession, so we came on the conclusion like news have some major news kind of impact on public relations, or you can say public relation impact on news coverage.
This is conclusion, right? So I'll start asking questions. Now, so if you could tell us, from your study, whatever limited study or survey which you have done, who has more impact? Which means news has more impact on public relations, or public relations has more impact? Because you talk about both towards the end.
According to this study, like news has more impact on public relations, because I am saying that, public relation was for one for an organization, or the event happening in the organization is covered by human news. So this study has concluded news has more ways for
You are trying to find out whether public relations has any impact on the kind of news coverage which is coming related to that brand, service, organization, whatever. The topic was that, right? So, which means you started there, and you wanted to find out, whatever these public relation executives or PR agencies are doing, does it have any impact on the news coverage or not? That's your major study. So for might have spoken to public relations professionals.
Yes,
And even like the 3 or 4 questions which you had shown, you said that yes, it does have a coverage. Now you mentioned one thing wherein you asked these public relations professionals, they will never say that. You said that, they said, how is PR affect news, right? So they said that it could be positive also, it could be negative. I don't know whether any publication professional would say that, their efforts can affect news negatively. They will never say that. But, your chart or whatever you had shown, most of the people have said both.
Most of the people had done some answer like
Even both is not right, It's their perception. Had it been a journalist perception or maybe like, any common person, they can say that. But PR professionals will never say that, it can impact any brand negatively.
Ma'am, actually the survey form is from both sides, PR professionals and journalists both. So it's a
For the survey, if you are taking PR professionals and the journalists, then you need to have different questions for them. You cannot have same questions. Right? So one is, it's not news impacting PR. What we were studying was PR impact. Right? And in that case, you need to ask questions to both sides. PR professionals also and journalists. So in this case, what you have done, you just taken public relations. Last point is, whenever you write public relations, write public relations, yes. Never write public relations. Okay. Any other questions?
As you guys mentioned, like you have only taken the survey of 11 people. So like what is there to like back up your research or like your paper, because it is not holding any value at this point of time. Because if we take in concentration, only 11 people have like answered to your survey, and 11 people is a very small number of people to like for a survey or to like as you have mentioned the paragraphs and all. So what is like the limitation, the main limitation and the backing up of your paper at this point of time?
Okay, sir. First I want to clear that we have just received 11 responses. We circulated around 20 to 25. And for the backup, we referred to the papers that I mentioned and that's all. Around 3 papers.
Why I'm not happy is that, if you've not done your research, if you've not completed at least like one part of it, don't go and do it. It's a good research. You have done an excellent job of this. And the way you are approaching publication professionals on LinkedIn and all, that shows that you want to do something. But don't bring half-baked things in a conference. Good that you're doing it, but next time when you bring it, at least like it should be some. And I don't go by 11 respondents. If it is survey and if you got 11 respondents, then yes, there's an issue. But you can always say that instead of survey, I would like to go for in-depth interview. If you manage to take interviews of 11 people who actually like wrote for your survey also, then you can get good insights. But then it has to be an in-depth interview. It can't be just a few questions which you have asked.
Now I may call upon Ms. Deepika Vora. She is also a faculty here and she is also a research scholar in SOJNMS IGNOU. And the topic of her presentation is role of agriculture-based YouTube videos in spreading scientific information.
So good afternoon to everyone and happy Ramadan. So the topic of my presentation is role of agriculture-based YouTube videos in spreading scientific information. And I would our country. We know that India is the most populated country, overcoming China. And with that pace, it is very important that agriculture का भी pace बढ़ाए उसी scale पे. So, and the productivity is hampered due to the unwanted weather changes and infrastructure issues. And apart from that, lack of information is also one of the problems. So while I was reading some of the articles, I come across that the ratio for the people who are giving information to the farmers, the extension officers, we usually call them, so it is 1:800. So there are 800 farmers and there are 1 extension officer. And this used to be earlier. Currently, there is like 1,037 farmers and there is just 1 extension worker which is giving information to them. So ICT enabled information has, there are a lot of schemes which even government is running, like e-Metu and ICAN6. And apart from that, social media is extensively used, not only people who are living in metropolitan cities, but also people who are living in rural areas. They are also using cell phones, and for that matter, even farmers are using it. And YouTube was seen as a very popular influential medium. We all use YouTube to learn something, to entertain ourselves. And in my study, I have taken particularly YouTube to focus on. And there has been a website called marketingtofarmers.com which says that 44% of farmers in our country, they watch videos to acquire information about product and services for their farm, and half of them even use cell phones, social media on daily basis, on monthly basis. So the objective of my study is, I have made 3 objectives. One is to understand the characteristics of agriculture-based YouTube videos in Hindi. Second is to understand the themes on which the contents are basically made. And third, the various styles and formats that has been used in such videos. I have read few literature. I would not go with all of them, but some of them are from India and some of them are from abroad, which basically says that mobile phone is being used, social media is being used and becoming popular among the farmers for their information needs. And of course, there are some of the disadvantages and issues which the farmers are coming up, like majorly the young farmers are more using social media in comparison to the farmers which are in their middle age and the older ones. And yeah, these are some other case studies which I have taken, that women in USA are also using cell phones to market their product, to sell their products, so it's helping them out. I have taken a theoretical framework for my study, which is Gobind framing theory. For the people who are from media or not from media, I'll just tell you what Gobind theory is all about. Gobind theory suggests that media presents everything to their audience in a certain frame, and that frame tries to influence them and take decision in a certain manner. Okay, so here I have seen that whoever is presenting a video in the YouTube channel, whether they are endorsing any product or not, that I have tried to see कि इन frames में क्या वो किसी product को तो endorse नहीं कर रहे हैं particularly, or their main idea is just to inform people. The methodology I have taken here is that I have particularly taken YouTube channels, agriculture-based YouTube channels which are running in Hindi. I have taken 5 channels and I have taken 4 videos from each channel which has the highest viewership among all the other videos that were there. And for authenticating and reliability check, I have first Googled my search कि कौन से 5 channel top आ रहे हैं. Then मैंने YouTube में search किया. I have gone through few of the articles which were suggesting कौन से 5 articles हैं जो सबसे ऊपर आ रहे हैं top most. Also, I have used an application which is called Quarix. So Quarix also helps you to tell which are the trending videos using the right kind of keywords like organic farming, topmost channels, such kinds of keywords are also used to do my research, and with that I was able to find, and I have done purposive sampling. By purposive sampling I mean that I have a purpose that मुझे agriculture related की videos चाहिए, हिंदी में ही चाहिए, and yeah, that was main purpose of my study और जिसकी highest viewership. So these were some of the channels named, these are the number of the subscribers, and these are the total videos uploaded in that channels and the years of establishment in that particular channel. Finding of my study says that the first objective which I talked about, that what is the characteristics of my channel, so it basically put in tabular form, which says that the video quality for like 65% of the videos uploaded in the channel has a very high quality, like 4K. Year of upload shows that in 2023, like it's not even over, but the percentage of videos was more in comparison to 2022 and 2021. Video duration, mostly of the videos was 10 to 15 minutes. It was about 45%. Then it was 5 to 10, and on a longer note, the video was only 20%. Like from 15 to 20 minutes duration, it was lesser. Video description was present on 90% of the video, which basically means that they want that the people should be aware and they properly get the information, whatever video they are going to see later on. In order to understand the themes, I have again made a tabulation. So the themes which are most popular is agriculture, business related theme. It was about 40%. Then organic farming themes were like 30%. And the least which was used was advanced agriculture tools and vegetable farming methods. So okay, I have made codes on this, and the formats which if I talk about was mostly used as interview style and talk show. Limitation of my study was a very limited sample size I used. Limitation of time was of course there. Language barrier was there. There are a lot of regional channels also which are working absolutely great in terms of agriculture channels, but I have taken Hindi channels only. And one more thing I believe that in my study which was missing is the framing analysis, the theory I have taken, the effects on audience was not being considered in my PPT. So yeah, so that's it. I believe that future study could be on that, कि हम उसको भी consider audience data. Any question?
What was your time frame for these videos?
Ma'am, there was no time frame. I just got 4 videos which have the highest viewership from that channel.
So you chose a sample because there was no time before anything second. It was just on the traction they.
It was the number of total videos they have seen, and I scrolled down like all the videos they have uploaded from like 2007 onwards.
You have also included the engagement and all these things study.
Engagement was not particularly included. I believe that future studies can be on that.
Yep. So it was a very good topic, ma'am. And did you refer any government website for the research?
For the research, government website, I have done for literature review part, but not particularly because I am focusing on YouTube. While, yes, and it is also one of the conclusion that most of the trending channels which are coming is of owned by private sector people or individuals. So the government, which needs to, which has the main priority to inform people, their channels are coming bit on a lower level. So that's a very good and valid point which I have not included and I should. So their channel is coming at a very lower, that's why I have not considered it.
I also had a similar question, which is like, have you done social media audit of the YouTubers or the YouTube channel, which means who these people are? For example, the farmers, they might be having a lot of followers, but whether the farmers are getting a credible piece of information or not. So, there are a lot of people who will end up creating content, or maybe like, it will be, a lot of people might be following them, but they might not be airing good programs, quality programs, or credible piece of information. So, for example, you did mention about But do you, I mean, I don't know in your sample whether these extension workers were also included, or who these 5 people were who are creating a lot of content for farmers. I mean, anybody would like to know
more about that. So honestly, ma'am, I haven't researched much, but Ravi Zone and Farming Leaders, there were 2 channels which are basically youngsters who left their job and went to their village and they started with this YouTube channel. So they say that we are from farmer background only, so they associate them as young farmers who are only.
But this is a very good study, which means that if you want to continue this, you just take 5 channels, so maybe you can contact these people. For example, what Erin was saying was absolutely right. I mean, it's not only just click-through rate, right? So people are clicking on this thing, but whether they were watching the entire program or how many watch hours were there.
This was actually a part of my PhD thesis only, and in that I have included that the audience survey by part and also who are these
survey of
so that's included. But thank you for all the suggestion and patiently listening.
We had our last presentation, and for the last presenters we have Ansh Gujral and Arushi Sharma. They are both students from IIN University, Gurugram, Haryana. The topic of their presentation is online marketing, a boon or pain for startups.
So good afternoon, one and all present here. My name is Arushi, and this is my co-author Ansh Gujral, and we are the students of IIN University, Gurugram, as ma'am mentioned. So the topic for today's presentation is online marketing, a boon or pain for startups. So this is the flow of presentation. We'll be starting with the introduction, moving on to the literature review, the research gap and significance, and so on. So I'll introduce it with our topic. So basically the history of marketing was dated back around 1500 BCE when some Iraqi society marked their early logos to use their signature marks as an early logos to create a brand image or customer relation. Then the digital marketing came much later in the 1990s when the internet was at the rise and the Web 1.0 was introduced. Online marketing is essential for startups as it provides a cost-effective way to reach their potential customers and also gather valuable insights into customer behavior and preferences. So as it was stated in the economic survey of 2021 to 2022, there is a thriving market for the innovative entrepreneurs. However, without a proper guidance and support, it can be difficult for them to stand in the business, sustain their businesses. So we have read quite a few research papers that is related to our topic. So we have just quoted 6 of them here because there's just so much of space. So these are the authors, the diagram, the major findings that was there in the research papers. Then moving on to the significance and the research gap. So basically the field of online marketing is already well enriched, and adoption of technology with self-employment among the youth has introduced a sense of responsibility to stand on their own feet and earn their daily bread in life. There's lack of understanding of the online marketing, if it is detrimental or beneficial to the startups. Hence, we have tried our best to provide a realistic information through this research. Moving on to the research objective.
So, okay, the objective of our study is to understand the concepts of online marketing with reference to startups by exploring different factors that influence the decision of the customer while purchasing any product from startup or availing any services from startups. The research methodology that we have used is to accomplish the objectives of the study, extensive literature review was done. In total, we have considered around 20 to 25 literature other papers, and by drawing articles from various databases which had the variables and the keywords which are online marketing, adoption of technology and startups, and all of these have been described in the literature table above. Majority of research articles were drawn from Scopus, After thoroughly studying the content of the literature, the gaps were identified and a conceptual was suggested. Findings of the study, the factors that influenced the decision of customers came out to be customer experience, channel of communication, electronic word of mouth, individual factors. All these factors are mentioned in all these papers that we have mentioned, and considering the above mentioned factors, the proposed model for the study is over here. Customer experience, electronic word of mouth, channel of communication, individual factors lead all to the decision of the customer also. Conclusion and managerial implications. Online marketing is a motivating factor for people to start their own businesses. There is a large scope in the current times for people to start their business to become entrepreneurs. Individual factors with customer experience, channel of communication and electronic word of mouth significantly impact the customer's preference and their behavior. Research on the topic contributes to the academic understanding of the dynamics between online marketing and startups. It can also lead to the development of frameworks, models and best practices that guide startups in their marketing efforts. Additionally, it offers practical insights to entrepreneurs and marketers, helping them make informed decisions about their online strategies. Next are the references that we have used. Thank you.
I have one question.
Yes.
Is this a review?
Ma'am, this is an ongoing paper which has been considered on the literature reviews and other papers that are present online, and we have also provided our inputs that have been mentioned.
So what is it basically? Is it a commentary or something like that?
It's an existing literature. Where you have to go to the literature that was already existing. We have referred to articles from schools and other research paper that we have mentioned.
Okay, and there's another thing. So how many research papers have you considered?
In total, we have considered around 20 to 25 research papers that have been mentioned in the references and everything. And for the benefit of your guys, so we have mentioned 6 research papers over here in the presentation, and we have mentioned the names of other research papers also over here in the factors.
Findings of this?
Yes, findings from the research papers, and we have considered over here.
So, what are your findings?
Findings from the research papers that we have considered are so the factors that influence the decision of customers came out to be customer experience, channel of communication, electronic word of mouth and individual factors. Individual factors depend person to person and they can change depending on the situation.
See, this is a literature of review. Yes. So that is what you've done. You have not conducted research yet.
No.
We haven't
conducted a survey or anything right now. This is
just a little bit.
Yes.
And an ongoing paper as well.
So we can use a descriptive approach in the future also.
But why have you taken this topic issues when you want to find out the impact of online marketing? Whether it's good or bad for the startups. Startups are relying only on online marketing.
No, ma'am, that's not completely right. Because if we consider an example only. So last year we both were working in a startup, like as interns, alright. So it's not compulsory that only social media is impacting startups these days, because offline marketing is the traditional way of marketing that people still follow. And offline marketing also holds an impact in today's generation, even if it is like a youngster or an adult or someone who is like a senior citizen. So by doing social media marketing, because it is growing so much at a rapid pace in today's generation, it is very difficult for startups, for companies and for entrepreneurs to know the perfect meaning of social media and social media marketing to be in fact. So by this, the people can refer and get to know by a research paper, get to know what are the limitations, what are the challenges that they face during the marketing. That is the main motive of this.
See, when you're talking about online marketing, right? One is that you need to look at, what are you, actually focusing on? Is it something organic or like paid for? So that's the advantage. Another thing is that when you said, they are not advertising their products on maybe like mainstream media or offline. There is a reason for that. Because if you talk about, mainstream media, traditional media, it's very
So that is the main thing that we are considering over here. So if
the topic says online marketing boom or wane for startups.
Yes. So because there are a lot of problems that a startup faces while they want to do the marketing. They want to start marketing, but they don't know how to do it. So the challenges, the advantages, the disadvantages, and everything is mentioned in the research paper that we have written right now. And it is an ongoing paper, of course. We have to like sort, we have to like also apply all of these theories.
I agree that this is the research in progress. But the title is something which you have freezed.
Yeah.
Right? I have issue with the title. So the moment you say boom or wane, which means like in a way you're trying to say that no, online marketing is not working for startups. This is the kind of impression which is coming from your research title. And the research title is too general. It could be a title for maybe like a chapter or maybe like not even chapter, article. So you need to figure out, you need to work on your title first, what exactly your title is. Right? So because that's the first thing which comes from your title. Then when you're saying boom or wane, 50, yeah, positive is okay, but you're also saying that it could be,
Negative.
Negative, just negative.
And you can read that add the sample or anything like that with your title. So because if this research paper is read not by me, not by man, but someone else, so what will they think? This research is for what? Go for the scholar, you may have a case study of this place, a case study of that. And you may choose some kind of startup, either for example textile or software or anything. And also mention the population, the demographic in the research. So that it is not too Thank you so much. So this was the last presentation. Now I would like to invite Dr. Anukuti Yadav and Dr. Susmita Bala. Please come forward and for certificate distribution, and we will also announce the best paper presentation of the session. First certificate, Dr. Sumita Hasmana, Assistant Professor. She's here.
She's not.
She was and now I may call upon Miss Aditi Anu. Bakshi Datta.
Now I request Dr. Susmita Bala, Professor and Head of DME Media School and Chief Associate Convener of ICAN6, to give her concluding remarks.
Thanks to all participants who have participated in this conference. And this is very important for everybody. If you are participating in the good field and your presentation is good, that's okay. Otherwise, you can analyze yourself, assess yourself, and try again and again. So it's very important for everybody. Thanks to Indraprastha and all participants.
With this, we come to the conclusion of this session. I would like to thank Professor Anukuti Yadav for her valuable time and sharing her expertise with us. I extend my gratitude to the management and leadership team of DME. Heartfelt thanks to Dr. Amrish Saxena for his guidance, Dr. Susmita Bala for giving us directions and support at every stage of the conference. Special thanks to the faculty member and staff of Media School for executing all the sessions of ICAN6. I would also like to thank the production and the technical team for providing the technical support. Special thanks to the newsletter and media coordination and social media team for the coverage of the event.
I would also like to thank the designing team for creative support. I also wish to thank the administrative staff of DME. Special thanks to our conference partners, knowledge partners, international partners, and media partners. The recordings of all the sessions of ICAN can be accessed through our official YouTube channel DME TV, our social media handles ICAN page and DME page. Kindly subscribe to our DME TV. The next session of this mega conference will be Technical Session 7. News and entertainment, media contemporary trends and perception of audience will be the topic, which will be held in the online mode from 3 p.m. onwards. Now, I, Vidisha, along with my co-host Rishita, will now take your leave. Till then, stay tuned for many exciting sessions